Okay, so at the very beginning of talking about mixed doubles, we talked a lot about trusting your partner. And part of that is about understanding your partner's strengths. So mixed doubles has evolved. We've seen a lot of that in the last few years, that it's no longer just, the females dinking back and forth. It's become a lot more aggressive. And there's an element of trust and respect amongst partners that makes for a really good team.
Yeah, and you hit on it perfectly, is that the game's evolved and it's changed, and the days of the female being just a setup person next to the dominant male are gone. The female needs to be aggressive. She needs to be aggressive at the right time, but she needs to know where she's going with that ball. It just can't be erratic. There's got to be a purpose to it.
Yeah, and at the same time, the whole idea of the male partner coming over and taking a whole bunch of balls is also not true anymore, right? I mean, how many times have I played with a partner that comes so far over that they end up getting burned behind them, when I would have been just as capable to hit that dink or hit that ball? So understanding your limits, understanding your own strengths is very, very important, right? If you're not as fast, you might not be able to come over as far as a fast player could do, right?
Yeah, and last thing is that the main part and main thing we want to really talk about is, let's have our game plan of what we want to do and what our strengths are. Yes, we have an opponent on the other side of the net. We know what they do. We know what they do well. We might know what their weaknesses are, but let's play to our strengths first. Let's make them stop us before we make any adjustments against them. So let's play to our strengths and do what we do well. Oh, I wasn't out of the kitchen. But right there on cue, that's a perfect example of, I went over, I didn't do anything with that ball. And I took a ball, it's right in front of her, she's in position. I take that, and then what happens? My backside's exposed. So I needed to rush to get back. I was in the kitchen, I was all off-footed. And that's where I just need to trust my partner, trust Susannah, that she's gonna take that ball and keep us in that point.
One of the things I've always thought about in mixed doubles, and people, my students and players ask me all the time about this, is about that male coming over and taking a dink. And the reality is, I always say, what makes him a better dinker than me? Right? I don't think there necessarily is a reason. I don't think necessarily that a male player is a better dinker than a female player, right? Dinking is not a power game, right? The only thing that you have that I don't have is a bigger reach, right? So why not just let me dink, okay? Right? So that was a perfect example of, he probably would have been way better off letting me dink another ball until we were in a better position, right? Now, at the same time, there are times where I would want my male partner to come over and even just take a dink. And the question I get asked all the time is why? And the reason for that would be to just give a different look to my opponents. Right? So now, if he can come over and do something with the ball and put pressure on you, I'm totally fine with that all day long. If he's going to come over and hit a dink, it's more of a giving me a second to catch my breath and changing the way it looks.
And it's also getting me involved. It's also letting me hit a ball. Whereas the females can be going back and forth 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times in a row, and I'm not seeing a ball. Me just stepping in and taking a ball that's right here gets me involved, gets me a touch, right? And so it gets me a touch, gets me involved in the point, and then I'll get back. The one I just did, that was a little too much. I was stepping on your toes in front of you.
If I'm not feeling any pressure, there's no need for you to get involved quite yet.
Right.
So one of the things we're gonna look for in this practice session is looking for us to get a little more aggressive, okay?
I go.
Yeah. Got it? Right, so right there is a great example. Dalton dinked the ball to me, trying to, keep me isolated. But because I saw Dalton moving, I knew that if I was gonna attack the ball, I might as well go right back at him. He's off balance rather than only focusing on Becky. Lots of footwork.
You
There we go.
happy?
I saw it. So that was another great example. By me choosing to speed this ball up middle, which to some mixed doubles players, especially the men, they're not always expecting that, right? I expect you to expect it from now on, right? But the reality is, as the woman, I actually hold a lot of power out here on the mixed doubles court because that guy makes some assumptions. The female can make some assumptions as well. And if I can break through those assumptions, I can actually create opportunities like we just saw for my partner to be ready to actually finish the point.
And that's the key too, is that your partner needs to be ready. So if I know that Susannah may speed that ball up, I need to be ready for the next ball because her first speed up typically isn't going to be the winner. It's going to be the block and the ball after that. So when she was speeding that last one up, she sped it up nicely. And what did I do? As soon as she sped it up, I was sitting forehand in the middle and I'm able to put that next ball away. So if you guys want to evolve your game, make sure you like and subscribe to Selkirk TV for all of our drills and many more.